Before the paywall.
Welcome, everyone. Yes, it's Andrew and Ben here, as we're going to go over the other cuts of Superman 2, besides the theatrical cut and the Donner cut. Yes, that's our little mini topic for this part of the episode. But first, an update on a previous episode that I have. So, a couple of weeks ago, we were going over how Danny Elfman didn't just have the Batman theme, but he did themes for the villains as well. For Joker, Penguin, and Catwoman. And I was like, I haven't really used those themes outside of the movies. Turns out I was wrong. So shame on me. I'll just fire myself again. But the animated series I've been watching is Justice League Action on Amazon Prime. It was around 2017 when that show was around. It's the last show where I think Kevin Conroy's Batman was a regular. He was like regularly part of it. And they got like 10-minute episodes on that. And just last week I was watching an episode called Enigma, Consulting Detective, where like Batman's been captured by the Joker, and the only person the Justice League can turn to capture him back, get him back, is the Riddler. So it's a fun episode. Brent Spiner is the voice of the Riddler in it. Pretty cool casting. Wow. Yeah, and in this episode, composer Kevin Ripple uses not just Elfman's Batman theme in a previous episode, but in this episode he uses not one, but two of Elfman's supervillain themes. I was surprised. I was shocked, too. So Penguin's theme from Batman Returns ends up playing when the Penguin shows up in this episode. And Joker's Waltz to the Death theme from Batman 89 that played when Joker was dancing with Vicky shows up here, too, when the Joker shows up. So, Kevin Ripple, I see you. I know what you're doing. It's pretty cool.
Nice.
So, awesome. Awesome reuse there. And then one more to add along those lines, Dyna Guy pointed out that on Sci-Fi's Krypton, they used the John Williams theme, which I didn't know because I haven't seen it.
I forgot about this. I think it is using at least in the first episode or something.
Yeah, I can see that, right? Because it's just like someday your grandson's going to be Superman, right? Like Adam Strange gives that to, his grandfather.
Dude, watch like the first two episodes. Like they thought they were like pretty good.
Nice.
The rest, I
don't
know, man. Yeah, maybe I can't recommend the rest of it, but they really it's all about hope and hope for the future and our family. I don't know. It worked. It definitely worked for me anyway.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right. I'll check it out at some point. We'll cover it here, but on to the main topic, at least for this mini episode, that's kind of a Patreon preview. We covered the theatrical cut of Superman 2 versus the Donner cut of Superman 2, but this is about the other cuts of Superman 2. So let's go back. So 1980, again, is when the theatrical cut is released. And then sometime after, in 1984, there is an extended TV version shown on ABC. This is kind of the precursor to the Donner cut. So there is 17 additional minutes of footage added to the theatrical release. Some of it is footage of the Donner cut. Some of it is additional footage that Richard Lester shot. This is the only version that has the Phantom Zone villains arrested at the end of the movie. And Christian Garcia, one of our fans, was one of the ones who pointed this out for us on the day that our main episode released, saying, quote, "Fun fact, when you search for the Donner cut on Voodoo, it's a longer cut. And according to Michael Thal, who's the editor on the Donner cut, neither he nor Donner had anything to do with that cut. In other words, there are 4 cuts of the same movie. The theatrical cut, the TV version that aired on ABC with an additional 19 minutes of footage added to it, which is where the restored, and then I messed up in terms of the screen cap here. This is the first time I did it as opposed to Dan, and clearly Dan is better at this job than I am. But yeah, he's saying that the restored international cut came from Superman 2, the Donner cut, and the Voodoo version of that cut. So
it's weird that Voodoo has their own cut of this movie.
Yeah. So that brings us into this other one, the Voodoo cut of it that Christian's talking about here. So the Donner cut that you and I saw, well, actually it depends. I'm not really sure which version you saw for the Donner cut. The Donner cut, the hard copy that I've got, is 111 minutes. But there is the Voodoo cut as well as the Amazon Prime cut, or Amazon cut, is 122 minutes. So there's an extra 11 minutes.
I might have seen it on Prime, dude.
Yeah. So you and I saw different versions of the Donner cut for this episode. Uh,
I didn't know
which
that was fucking complicated. I thought it was just 2 cuts.
yeah, which is
I
why
was
we
aware of
here.
the 19 minutes of the TV cut. I think I was aware of that one as well. Um,
Yeah.
there's, like, some gauntlet thing that's in neither cut or something that's in that.
Well,
Uh
there's the extended version. Yeah, Gauntlet thing that's in the Superman the movie, like Superman the 78, where he like
oh,
goes
that's in
through.
'78? Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah. But that's also a extended TV broadcast version of that one.
Oh my god. This is
So
so
there's so
compli
many
I didn't know it
cuts.
was so fucking
Uh,
complicated.
yeah, like they obviously clearly shot a shit ton of footage. Like Donner shot a ton because it was both Superman 1 and Superman 2, and there was enough in Superman 1 to edit into a 3-hour movie, which means even more footage, of like other takes and other things. So yeah, the Phantom Zone villains getting arrested along with Lex Luthor, that is in the extended TV broadcast version. That's the only version
Dropping
that
a
has that
random
edited in.
random dropping random filmmaker knowledge here. It's
Go
called
ahead.
shooting ratio, a director's shooting ratio, which is used to unused footage. And
Hmm.
directors like Kubrick, they're kind of special case, but like
Hmm.
absolutely fucking insane shooting ratio. Like 400 takes of
Hmm.
a bullshit scene or something. That was in the days of film too. My God,
Hmm.
just unbelievable.
They're
You
just
might
going
see
right through it.
you might see less of that these days, but even with digital, but
Hmm.
um, yeah, like I wonder what his shooting ratio was for Superman 2.
Yeah. So yeah, we've got these additional scenes that might have been because of that reason. And according to CapedWonder.com, there was a lot of other things. There was a lot of kind of turmoil, it seems, when it came to going from the theatrical cut and extended TV broadcast version, that sort of evolution into getting the Donner cut made. So, according to Caped Wonder, Donner was offered back in 2001, several years before the actual Donner cut. They said, like, hey, you want to do your cut of Superman 2 because you're already working on, sort of extended cut of Superman 78. And Donner apparently refused at that time. He said no, it was too much of a sore spot for him. Um, and so a fan was like, well, we've got this footage from TV, so let me put together a fan edit. And so that fan created the restored international cut. That's what Christian was referring to. Um, it's called Superman 2, the restored international cut. Technically, another cut of this movie, but again, that's a fan made bootleg version. In 2004, Warner Brothers then shut it down due to copyright reasons, but the fan said that he felt like it was a way to get Donner's vision out there. So, because of this, Donner ends up deciding to work with Michael Dow on his cut, the complete cut um, of the Donner cut of the Superman 2, creating the Superman 2 that we know. And then now we're finally on this Voodoo version. So, yeah, this is confusing as fuck. Even when I was researching this, I'm like, how many cuts are there for this goddamn movie? So, all right, so this extended Voodoo version, which seems like it's the Donner cut, extended Donner cut. Um, what does it have in it? Like, what's different about the version that you might have seen on Amazon Prime versus me on DVD? So, uh, when Lex and Miss Tessmacher are in the fortress, it's a little longer. There's more exposition on how the Phantom Zone villains were not given the possibility of parole, and Jor-El adds about how a nuclear explosion could open up the Phantom Zone itself. And then the scene with Lex sort of talking about what he could do with the Phantom Zone villains, it has a different ending. In both versions of the Donner cut, we hear Miss Tessmacher finds the toilet. But in the extended version on Voodoo and Amazon, you hear Miss Tessmacher flush and then she screams. And that's the last we hear of Miss Tessmacher. Some dark
Okay.
humor there.
I don't remember that, but it's been years.
Yeah. So I don't know what happened there. It also has more Lester footage of the Kryptonian villains invading Houston, and this is footage that made it into that TV cut. But there's a boy in the village that or the little town that they invade, who kind of has an inexplicable British accent in the theatrical cut. He's the one who's his dad is like levitated over the ground, and the boy's like, "Please, sir, let my father down." And you're just like, "This is supposed to be Houston, Texas. Like, what are you doing here?" So
We're on holiday.
The kid decides that he's going to run off and get help from another town. So he goes on horseback and takes off. And Zod's like, no one can leave without my permission. And so he signals to Non. Non takes a police siren off of a car and throws it. And essentially, it's a bomb, or he kind of uses it as a grenade and blows up the boy and his horse, killing him.
I think I would have remembered that maybe. I
Yeah.
don't know if I saw that part.
And all the town is now like shocked at what happens. And an old woman says, like, he was only a boy. And Ursa kind of smiles and says, he will never become a man. So,
Oh my
which is
god.
like, again, that's more of that dark humor. I'm just like, dude, this is the darkest cut out of all of them. We've got Miss Desmond
Yeah.
potentially getting flushed to her death in the Fortress of Solitude, and you got this kid getting killed. But there's a part of me that wonders, like, what if they left this in? Because, like, think back to the movie. There's not really a kill that stands out that they do. Like, they cause destruction, but you don't really remember them killing people in like that much of a brutal way. There's stuff still, and like the Donner Cut's got Zod machine gunning the Secret Service, but like I feel like that's still different compared to them just killing an innocent kid. There's degrees here. So
Right.
I don't know. Part of me is like, maybe they should have kept that in. But there's a dispute in terms of like what the hell this cut is, because it seems like it's an extended Donner cut that happens to have Lester footage from Richard Lester. So there was a podcast where Michael Fowl, the editor, commented on it, saying that it was not actually an early part of the Donner cut. It's, quote, someone's going wild over there at Warner Brothers. Got to be somebody at Warner Brothers. It could be a different department than home video. It could, be the streaming department that ordered it, paid for it, or something like that. I don't know, is the quote. So,
Okay.
weird. We don't know. We don't know what this is, but this is our coverage on the other cuts. We will dive more into the Patreon in comparing the different cuts. But yes, there are 4 cuts of this movie plus a fan cut that sort of helped push it along to get the Donner cut out there. So yeah, to get the full version of this episode dropping Friday, become part of the $5 tier on our Patreon, where you get the full length episodes of these mini episodes that we've been doing. And if you want to meet us virtually, join the $10 tier. We know that Halsey is excited. He says, woohoo, I know what day it is, since he missed it last time. But yeah, you can join the $10 tier with us for a monthly meetup in the Zoom setting. That will be on Wednesday, April 26th for this month, 2 days after they supposedly premiere a new Flash trailer. So you can be one of the first to talk to us about that when that drops. And with that, I think we're ready to go behind the paywall.
All right, everybody. We'll see you behind the paywall. Thanks, everybody, for there were comments in this episode too, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you, everybody, for that. And here we go behind the paywall.